And Hurricane Milton making landfall this evening just south of Tampa near Sarasota, Florida. More on your local forecast here in just a few minutes.
Tonight on WVUA 23 News at 10, this is Fire Prevention Week. Tips from local fire departments on how to keep you and your family safe in the event of a house fire. And Alabama state parks are stepping in to offer refuge from Milton, how they're helping to create a home away from home. WVUA 23 News starts right now.
This is WVUA 23 News at 10.
We're glad to be with you tonight. I'm Jalen Barron in for Jabari Pruitt. Tonight we lead with weather as Hurricane Milton made landfall as a Category 3 storm near Siesta Key, Florida around 7:30 this evening. Lee Walden is in with Tampa at the latest on how Milton moves across the state.
Waters come up!
I am scared to death of some of these storm surge levels. The values are absolutely dangerous and deadly.
As weather officials say, hide from the wind, run from the water.
If you're going to take that kind of risk, then it'd be best to just write your name on your clothing so we can identify you.
Nearly half of hurricane-related deaths are from storm surge, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. But as Hurricane Milton bears down on the Sunshine State, Floridians are out of time to run.
Don't try to go out now. Don't try to say, I got to get out of here and get to a shelter, because you will die.
Already, the Sunshine State reported the most tornado warnings in a day on record.
We've seen reports of damage, lots of images of those tornadoes, and some of them have been quite long-lasting as well, which is not typical for tornadoes associated with hurricanes. One family in Fort Myers was inside their house when a tornado ripped through their neighborhood.
We all started going for the hallway, didn't even make it there in time, started and I heard a piece of glass crack and it sucked the whole roof off, and I felt the thing suck me up, and I grabbed my kid and my wife and hunkered down. Milton is set to leave behind extensive damage, yet first responders can't go out to assess or perform life-saving operations until the wind dies down.
This is a matter of life and death, and I can't put it any more bluntly or directly than that.
In Tampa, Florida, I'm Lee Waldman reporting.
Hurricane Milton is now a Category 2 storm. However, it is no less dangerous. The National Weather Service issued flash flood emergency statements for the Tampa Bay area. Many families learned from Hurricane Helene how to stay safe, and now Milton has caused mandatory evacuations. WVUA 23's Callie Cassidy spoke to one Tampa family who found sanctuary in Tuscaloosa. Callie, good evening.
Jalen, as nearly 6 million people are under mandatory evacuation orders, some families' safety plan including staying with their students in Tuscaloosa. Residents of Tuscaloosa gear up for the evacuees making their way out of Hurricane Milton's path. University of Alabama students come from across the country, including Central Florida. One family traveled to Tuscaloosa to escape the storm. After Hurricane Helene hit the Big Bend region of Florida, the family decided to leave their home of South Tampa and take no chance.
I have a tendency to want to ride them out, but after Helene, a lot of damage done, and seeing this one, the track coming directly at Tampa, the level that it was coming, the surge, like this was going to be a Cat 4, Cat 5, that's really dangerous. So we decided we were going to evacuate.
The family said they were in the mindset of worst case scenario that finally pushed them to leave. Jennifer Martinez said the entire situation was tough to grasp, especially leaving behind all the memories made in their family home.
It was chaotic. And then just very emotional, because you have to decide, like, what is it that is important enough that you want to take with you just in case your home isn't there when you get back. So it was very emotional.
While the family packed up what they could, they also had to prepare their Tampa home to withstand the storm.
You bring all the things from outside in so it doesn't become debris, doesn't become shrapnel that can fly through windows or other people's windows and that. You try and bring everything up to we're lucky to have a two-story, so brought everything up to the second floor, those things that we couldn't fit that were priceless or that we can't be replaced.
The family hopes they still have a home to go back to after the hurricane. Early officials issued warnings to flee or face low chances of survival. Jalen.
Callie, thank you. Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott joins us now. Richard, will Alabama see any rain from Milton?
Jalen, no rain for central Alabama. This hurricane well to the southeast of central Alabama. The latest information, this storm made landfall officially about 2.5 hours ago. Winds are still sustained at 105 miles per hour, making it a Category 2 storm just south of Tampa. It officially came inland right around that Sarasota, Florida area. We'll take a look at your radar. And again, very heavy rainfall continues in the Tampa metro. They've got flash flood emergencies in effect for that community, that city, that large area. This storm continues to move across Florida pretty quickly now. We've lost that well-defined eye feature, but it's still a very dangerous hurricane. Hurricane warnings for Tampa Bay all the way towards Fort Myers and as far east as Daytona Beach and Orlando, all the way to the Atlantic side of Florida. Again, no impacts for central Alabama. This storm continues moving eastward. It will likely dissipate in the open Atlantic due to a lot of wind shear and dry air by Friday and Saturday. More on your local forecast here in just a few minutes. Jalen?
Alabama state parks are open to help evacuees from the devastating recent hurricanes. Alabama state parks have 21 cost-effective communities for people needing to evacuate from their homes due to Hurricane Helene and Milton. From tent camping to lodges and cabins, Alabama state parks have everything to make evacuees feel like they have a home away from home. Christy Ayton with Alabama State Parks says all of the parks have capacity and are available to anyone in need.
We have reminded people that all of our parks have capacity. And the beauty of the state system is this: if we have a park that becomes full, because that can happen, we can easily say, hey, listen, this is the closest park. We're going to connect you with them. And then that team picks up where the other left off to make sure that the reservation system is flawless for them.
Alabama State Parks want to provide as many options as possible. For more information on how to make a reservation, visit alapark.com or call 1-800-ALAPARK. Smoke detectors, make them work for you. That is the theme for Fire Prevention Week. WVUA 23's Lyric Franklin joins us live from our newsroom with details on why having working smoke detectors is so important.
Jalen, smoke detectors could be the difference between life or death. And this week, firefighters are taking the initiative to make sure everyone has one.
Tuscaloosa and Northport Fire Department are participating in a week full of events, starting with going out in the community and checking on resident smoke detectors.
We can come in and check your detectors that are already working. The ones that are not working, we can kind of guide you on what you need to do. But if you don't have them, or if you need some more, then we can install them free of charge.
This is a part of an initiative to better the community and help prevent fires across the county. Fire departments performed a smoke alarm blitz, and they say it is something they take deep pride in.
It feels good. We like I said, we take a lot of pride in the people that we serve, the community, public education, preventing fires. The number of fires is way down today as compared to 20, 30, 40 years ago.
The fire department also goes out every third Saturday of the month to check on resident smoke detectors to ensure they are working. The department says fire safety education is extremely important in protecting you and your family from a possible disaster, as the time to evacuate is becoming shorter and shorter.
You know, 40 years ago, you had 17 minutes to get out of a house fire, and today you've got roughly 2 to 3 minutes. And that's because of the synthetic materials in houses and the way houses are built. So having that smoke alarm in place is even more important to help get you and your family out safely.
Fire crews say it is recommended that you test your detectors monthly and change the batteries yearly. If your detectors are more than 10 years old, it is suggested you get new ones installed.
The department says if they stopped by your house and you were not there, it is not too late to still get a smoke detector installed. They say you should contact your local fire department and they will be more than happy to help you. Live and local in the newsroom, Lyric Franklin, WVUA 23 News.
The Brookwood community and the Tuscaloosa Sheriff's Office are mourning the loss of a deputy and school resource officer. 62-year-old Deputy Tim Johns suffered a medical emergency Tuesday while on duty that resulted in his death. Deputy Johns served as Brookwood's resource officer for 7 years and with the Sheriff's Office for 26 years. Deputy Johns will be honored at Brookwood's Friday night football game. Two former corrections officers in Alabama have pled guilty in the death of a Walker County Jail inmate. Heather Laisha Craig and Bailey Clark Gainey agreed to separate plea deals. Court documents say 33-year-old Tony Mitchell died of hypothermia and sepsis back in 2023. Craig and Gainey were correctional officers at the Walker County Jail when Mitchell died. The documents say he was kept in a cold, concrete cell without immediate access to a toilet, running water, or bedding. One other former correction officer pled guilty to related charges in September. A separate additional officer has agreed to plead guilty for her role in Mitchell's death. A federal law could ban TikTok next year. What important information parents need to know about the popular app. And the Supreme Court is revisiting a 2022 regulation on gun kits. What arguments the High Court is hearing. We'll have those stories and more next. The Supreme Court signaled Tuesday and may uphold a Biden administration regulation on ghost gun kits, which allow people to build fully functional and untraceable guns at home. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives imposed the regulations in 2022. The agency said a 1968 law requiring manufacturers and dealers to perform background checks and include serial numbers on firearm kits. Advocacy groups and several manufacturers of the mail-order kits sued, arguing the agency overstepped its authority. Chief Justice John Roberts appeared skeptical of the notion that the kits are geared towards enthusiasts. He claimed building a gun is not the same as working on a classic car. If you are a parent, you might be interested in the latest lawsuits against TikTok. They're from 14 state attorney generals alleging TikToks hurt young people's mental health. Numerous studies show social media in general can harm children and teens, but the lawsuits signal one TikTok has been especially dangerous. They argue its endless scrolling content is addictive. They say challenging videos on the platform can encourage risky behavior, and late-night push notifications can disrupt sleep. TikTok says it's proud of its efforts to protect teens. Former Republican presidential nominee and current Utah Senator Mitt Romney is not glossing over any words. He does not want to see another Trump administration. Romney spoke Tuesday at the University of Utah's Hinckley Institute of Politics. Romney's been a fierce critic of Trump, voting twice to convict the former president during his impeachment trials in the Senate. While Romney did not endorse Vice President Harris for president, he's offered this.
Yeah, I've made it very clear that I don't want Donald Trump to be the next president of the United States, and you're going to have to do the very difficult calculation of what that would mean. All right.
Does not support Trump. He believes the former president will actually win the November election. Romney decided not to run for re-election this year, but still hopes to have a voice in the Republican Party after the election.
And our local weather is quiet across central Alabama. Here's a live view from Bryant-Denny Stadium here in Tuscaloosa. Look at that forecast coming up after the break. Stay with us. Hear my forecast every day on Tuscaloosa's True Oldies channel, 102.1 FM, WJRD. And it is all about the tropics. Here is a live view. This is down in Fort Myers, Florida, and we've got a storm surge issues down there. In fact, you can still see some of the water over parts of the roadways there. In fact, the water levels seem to be coming down a little bit compared to about an hour ago, but still, they've got some flooding issues ongoing down there. Let's go to the maps and show you the latest on Hurricane Milton. This is still a Category 2 storm, made landfall about 2.5 hours ago, and when it came in near Sarasota, Florida, this storm continues track across Florida, and still a very deep convection right around the center. That is prompting flash flood issues across much of central Florida. Winds 105 miles per hour. Again, you see in the other box there the tremendous amount of rainfall and storm surge issues going on. That other view is over in Fort Myers. Here's a look at radar, and again, you see the storm has came inland now, just south of Tampa, the core itself, the eye, but still some tremendous rain amounts, including the Tampa area up towards Orlando. Flooding issues are likely with this hurricane now, and again, we notice on the south side of this, not as much rainfall. Hurricane warnings stretch across much of central Florida, including Tampa, Fort Myers, up towards Orlando and Daytona Beach. So it is certainly a rough ride there. This storm continues moving eastward out into the Atlantic. It's going to dissipate in the Atlantic, which means it will not come back towards the U.S. mainland. Let's go to our local weather. This is a live view from Bryant-Denny Stadium. Looks like it had some power failure there. This is what it looks like from the stadium looking northward. Our local weather very quiet. Currently 66 here in the Tuscaloosa area. Wind is light to calm down And again, we topped out at 83 today. But what a nice start to this morning, 53 earlier. Look at Doppler radar, all quiet tonight, and we've already got some 50s on the board. In fact, 59 currently in Coleman, 55 in Gadsden. Here's a look at the satellite across the region. No weather concerns tonight, and tomorrow bright sunshine. We're back in the low 80s by mid-afternoon. Look for light north wind, humidity going to be low for tomorrow, and that will be the case as we go towards the next several days. Look for dry weather conditions around. And temperatures will be back into the 80s. I do expect those cool overnight lows, and then much cooler by the time we get in Monday night and Tuesday night. 40s return, and for the first time, Jalen, I've never put this on a forecast, but it's possible a major solar storm coming, and there's the potential we could see some northern lights across much of the country. Maybe like what we saw back in May. We got our fingers crossed. It's a potential. So Thursday night, look up at the sky. There's a chance we could see it.
That would be beautiful. And
yes,
I
love that.
And then we have our sports director, Gary Harris, joining us. Gary, good evening.
Good evening, Jalen. Coming up in sports, Alabama football continues preparations for South Carolina. We'll have the latest from the practice field. And Wednesday night college football in the state tonight as Jacksonville State plays host to New Mexico State. All Gamecocks in this one. Sports is next.
Love Malachi, the work that he puts in every single week. His heart is into Alabama more than anybody I've ever been around, and we're going to do everything we can to put our players in the best position to be successful and continue to learn and grow from this past game and all the games that we've had. So, you know, that's maybe is a hot topic and a hot discussion about things, but we're trying to find every single way we can to continue to improve and grow and get better, and those are one of the things we'll continue to improve, an area we'll continue to improve in.
Alabama defensive backs coach and co-defensive coordinator Maurice Linguist on Malachi Moore and putting the defensive backs in position to be successful. Good evening, I'm Gary Harris. Alabama practiced in shells this morning as they continue to get ready for the game on Saturday morning against the South Carolina Gamecocks. A little after 11 a.m., the kickoff at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. The young cornerbacks getting their work in. Xavier Brown, Deshaun Jones, and Jahil Hurley, all very talented. Of course, Brown's already a starter. The outside linebackers you're going to see coming up in just a moment, Q Robinson and Keanu Coate, number 34 and number 19. And we're going to show you the defensive linemen. That's where I think that Alabama's going to have to play a little bit better against some of these teams, slow down the running game. Following practice today, Chris Kapilovic, the offensive line coach, on the challenge of blocking South Carolina's big and athletic defensive front.
I think they do show multiple fronts. They move around a lot of games inside, and they got two premier pass rushers on the edges. And even when the guys that come in for them, they do a good job. And I would say they probably have the best interior pass rusher, one of the kids that we've seen this year. Their backers are downhill. They run. They are fast, aggressive, and try to play violent, and they do a really good job with what they're supposed to do there.
Well, Alabama's defense was punished at times this past weekend by Vanderbilt, who, even though they didn't have great numbers on the ground, they stuck with their running game and they ran it effectively against Alabama's defensive front using some triple option stuff. South Carolina has 2 dual threat quarterbacks in Lenore Sellers and Robbie Ashford, and one of the SEC's best running backs in Rocket Sanders. UA defensive line coach Freddie Roach now on what it will take for the Tide's D linemen to be effective against the Gamecocks' running game.
I think defensively, when you're playing against someone like that, and also a quarterback with, the talent that they have, you have to fit your gaps, and you got to do attention to detail and assignment football. And that's regardless if it's Emmitt Smith, it can be Ron Dane, it don't matter. All right, if you got a good running back you're playing, you are responsible for one particular gap. All right, if you're moving and you have pressure, you're responsible for another gap. But just everybody on the same page, and that's what you do. That's what you do defensively when you're playing against someone that has the caliber talent that he does.
Jacksonville State tonight hosting New Mexico State in Conference USA action. 3-0 New Mexico State until Trey Stewart's touchdown. Made it 7-3 Gamecocks. Tyler Huff then will find Trey Stewart. Stewart had a huge game out of the backfield. He's wide open. Little wheel route. Nobody guarded him. 32 yards, 16-3 at this point. And then it's Stewart again, this time on the ground, right up the middle. See you later. 48 yards, made it 26-6. It was 33-6 at half. And Jacksonville State rolls tonight, 54-13. They've won 3 in a row. Aaron Rodgers denied rumors that he was involved in the firing of New York Jets head coach Robert Saleh when he appeared on the Pat McAfee show on Wednesday. The Jets fired Saleh on Tuesday after a disappointing 2-3 season start. While rumors swirled Tuesday following Saleh's abrupt departure that Rodgers had something to do with it, Rodgers said he had a good relationship with the 45-year-old coach and would never try to do something like that. A lot of people aren't agreeing with it, though. That's a look at sports. We'll be back after this.
'24's Fat Bear Week has come to an end. The yearly bracket-style competition allows online voters to choose a chubby champ. Patrick Cornell has that story in today's Take a Look at This.
A final matchup between bitter rivals has been a fitting end to Fat Bear Week 2024 in Alaska's Katmai National Park. Grazer goes back-to-back as the repeat champion, besting a bear named Chunk in the final round, more than doubling up her competitors' vote total. But there's some serious drama in the backstory. According to contest organizers, Chunk killed one of Grazer's cubs over the summer after it was swept over Brooks Falls, the location where bears gather to fatten up on salmon ahead of winter hibernations. And it's not the only bear-on-bear attack that caused strife for the competition. A deadly confrontation between two animals initially delayed the start of Fat Bear Week. All in all, a stark reminder that while the event is all in good fun, we're still dealing with wild animals. Next, check out this photograph. The underwater image just won the 2024 Wildlife Photographer of the Year competition. The picturesque pic called The Swarm of Life shows western toad tadpoles snaking through lily pads in Cedar Lake in British Columbia. Contest organizers say the species is threatened due to habitat destruction and predators. Canadian photographer Shane Gross spent hours silently snorkeling to take that spectacular shot. The picture was chosen as the winner from nearly 60,000 entries, and it's not the only amazing image. Life Under Deadwood took home the award for Young Wildlife Photographer of the Year. The piece from Alexis Tinker-Savalas pieces together 36 photographs of slime mole and a springtail to give us this very cool view. An exhibition of these photos opens at London's Natural History Museum on Friday. For Take a Look at This, I'm Patrick Cornell.
High school football, getting ready for Football Friday. Tomorrow night, our Game of the Week preview, Oak Grove at Bibb County.
Wow. And last look at weather.
Hey, local weather looking pretty good over the next several days. Cool, nice, warm days. And there is a chance, not saying it's going to happen, but it's a possibility. Good to see northern lights as far south as Alabama Thursday night. So look up at the sky just in case we were able to see that.
I'm definitely excited to see that.
Yeah,
That would be
technically,
great.
if you can see them in Alabama, are they Southern Lights?
Southern Lights.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's our show. Have a good night.